Hello, welcome to another voice recording. And before I get into this, I just want to tell all of you that I'm doing this voice recording on my LG smartphone. I'm sitting in my car, and my car is parked at a rest area along a major U.S. highway called U.S. Route 59. I'm outside of a small town called Tejana, Texas. And I'm the only one who is at this rest area, so I'm gonna do a voice recording here. Okay. Anyway, I just want to get into this, and I just want to talk about this. Well, it's like this. Uh, when I was watching some things on Amazon Fire TV, well, through YouTube, and 60 minutes documentary or special, a woman said this: people on Facebook aren't into politics. They are into and knowing how their friends and families are doing and talking about their children and what's going on in their lives, and they're not interested in politics. And it was a special about, let's see what it was about. It was about far right conservative people storming a U.S. Capitol building back on the 6th date of January of 2021. The storming of the U.S. Capitol, and social media is making some people in America angry about political stuff like guns and a lot of stuff that they're angry at, and you got people who are like conspiracy theorists, um, people who are part of the truther movement, the conspiracy movements, talking about the globalists are taking over the U.S. They have control of the U.S. The Illuminati and all of this stuff. You know, I'm not into all of that stuff. All that stuff is just nothing. And going back to Facebook, I'm looking at Facebook, and you can't talk to anybody on Facebook. It doesn't matter if it's something political or not. Nobody's not gonna respond to you on Facebook. Like I can talk about things like nature, you know, how different things are overseas, abroad compared to the U.S. You know, learning how to speak a language. Stuff that doesn't involve politics, and nobody talks to you on Facebook. Nobody talks to you on probably on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. It doesn't matter. I mean, social media is basically, it's not social human connection, because and you got people who are full of anger and resentment who go out and just lose it and just go on mass shooting sprees and just kill a lot of people out of anger and resentment. And and how about people, how about people who are like, how can I say this? How about single lonely men who are in their 20s and 30s, they don't have a girlfriend or wife. They're alone. They have a loveless life. I mean, they're socially isolated from people, and they're hopeless. There's no love, romance, and sex in their lives. And they're going to be like this all the way until they're old. And they're going to be old people, old men who are going to develop, dementia or full-blown Alzheimer's disease. You know, their mental health is going to be destroyed, through that, along with a toxic society with toxic people who like to tear people down and bring people down and tell them they're stupid, they're not going to amount to anything, and tell them, they had all the chances in the world and they blew it. Had all the chances in the world and they blew it. And blame yourself for your problems. It's your fault. Blame yourself. And you brought this on yourself, and I didn't tell you to end up like this. Let's just say some of these lonely men have a learning disability and they have a temper, and they let the toxic work environment at this job that's corporate just get to them, and they lose it, and they go and just destroy things and start throwing boxes around a processing room, and they get fired. And also they get fired from walking out of their job and never coming back, and they get fired through that. And they're weirdly been sheltered and kept down by their parents, and their parents just put them on programs, disability programs, like Social Security disability, money from Social Security, and food stamps. And they won't let that person use those food stamps because they say this: you buy the wrong things and you went and bought a huge case of Coca-Cola, and you don't look at the sales paper, and you can't determine what something weighs by a pound, and you can't handle all of these bills, and you can't understand anything. And all of this on this disabled individual that just make them reach a boiling point and to say things like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill my mom and dad because they ruined my life," and they're just saying a lot of things that are not true, and they're not pinpointing the problem of what's driving their problem. And it's all because of a toxic society in the United States that programmed these people to not speak the truth and not say that, well, society is behind how I am. It's society that's making me be the way I am. It's society that's making me angry and bitter and full of resentment. And the parents go and tell this person that that's the reason why you don't have any friends, and that's the reason why you're alone. Then these disabled individuals have people in their lives that they know that won't forgive them for the things that they say to them, someone like say something bad to someone, they call them a name, or a black man calls a white woman a cracker, and this white woman will hold a grudge and hate that person for the rest of her life and will never forgive that person. And you got people who lost loved ones in mass shootings. They will never ever forgive that person for taking the life of their loved one. And some will call them a rotten piece of shit and a worthless bastard and a monster. And I hope you fucking burn in hell in prison. You got all of this. Well, maybe it's the reason why and call me crazy if you want to, but I think that the United States is a country that creates killers and monsters. That's right. A toxic American society creates killers and monsters. I mean, these killers and monsters who are just, who never became killers and monsters were turned into killers and monsters by a toxic, just rigid, just cruel, anal, repressed, strict, heartless country like the United States. America creates its killers, and that's a fact. Let's take a look at Winston Wu, the founder of Happier Abroad. I watched one of his videos on his YouTube channel, and he talked about when he was in high school, he was in a toxic environment where kids looked down on him, they judged him, and he was buried in a lot of schoolwork. And he got out of there and went back to his native country of Taiwan to heal his mental health. And his mental health was completely healed, and he became a normal person. And all the toxicness and anger and resentment and bitterness and madness completely left him because he was in a less toxic society in a sane environment in Taiwan. Well, he also said that Taiwan is a very antisocial, cliquish, cold society. And he said that it wasn't like that like in the 80s, but it's like that now. If you're a single lonely man here in the United States and you're suffering from loneliness and a loveless life with no love, sex, and romance, and you don't have a woman in your life, you don't have a girlfriend, or if you have a wife, if you're not if you're a married man, and if you're not a married man, if you don't have a wife, how can I say this? Okay, I'm slipping the tongue. What I was trying to say is, if you're a lonely man and you're suffering from loneliness and being socially isolated from everybody, and you don't have any friends, you don't have a wife, you don't have a girlfriend, I mean, you don't have no love, sex, romance, and joy and happiness in your life, and you don't feel good about yourself, and you're completely ripped apart by a toxic society here in the United States. Well, like I said in the previous videos, you don't have to put up with this. You can leave the United States by changing your location and going abroad to a saner country that with people who are sociable, who are friendly, who care about you, who want to who will help you out when you're down and tell you, hey, you can get through this. I know you can. I just, the best for you. I just want the best for you. I want to see you succeed in life. You can be in a society where people won't tear you down. You have a society where you'll be built up by down to earth, friendly, sociable people. You can be in a society where you're not huddled in a clique or isolated from everybody. You'll be among a lot of people. People want to come up to you and talk to you. People want to be your friend. I mean, if it's a man or a woman, and you'll get a girlfriend slash wife out of the women in that country. Now, I'm saying that all countries aren't friendly and sociable. Some are, some aren't. Things are so much better for you overseas. The women are better. The people are better. The food is better. The culture and lifestyle is better. All you have to do if you want to get away from your problems, if you want to solve your problems, you can just leave the sinking ship with it, which is the United States, and head overseas to a better country that's better for your mental health and improve your life. You don't have to stay in a toxic society like the United States. You don't have to. But this audio recording is not for everybody. If you're happy in the US, if you don't care about mental health or social human connection, well, if you're happy, if you care more about your job or whatnot, so this audio recording is not for you. So, what I'm trying to say is, the problem is not you. The problem is society and the people in society, which is the United States. Don't listen to conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones. Don't listen to mainstream Americans or everything in the mainstream. And don't listen to the alternative media. And they say it doesn't matter if you have a shitty life, if you have all the problems in the world, going abroad is not the answer. And that's a lie. Going abroad is the answer. And everything in other countries don't mirror the US. And people say, women and people are the same everywhere. They're the same as the US, which is nothing more than a lie. It's a complete and utter fallacy. It's just not true. And don't listen to fear-mongering or propaganda. Your life will go from 0 to infinity if you leave the US. Some Americans who are living abroad, their lives got better. If you join them, your life will get better too. And I hope I become one of those people. The United States of America has the highest rate of mental illness in the world, higher than Canada and higher than England, who have similar culture like the U.S. England and Canada are similar to the United States. Even though England has or shares some of the U.S.'s problems, it has some advantages over the U.S. But I'm not here to say that all countries are perfect. All countries have problems, but those other countries' problems are not in the extreme as problems here in the United States. So you don't have to waste your time going online to sites like Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat. You have to go to those places like that for social human connection. Because, people on there are not going to talk to you. Well, and Facebook is filled with older people. So, you won't be able to talk to anybody on Facebook. Just a few little comments. That's about it. They're not going to talk to you. So, I felt that. So, yeah. And if you live abroad, you can be the real you. And you have social freedoms. You have the freedom to be yourself. You don't have to stay in a country and be something that you're not. You don't have to take something that the U.S. society gives you. And someone said that if you resist the culture here in the United States, you're likely to go crazy and be mentally ill. I noticed when I was abroad, I was in Athens, Greece, and I went into this souvenir shop, and I wanted to buy a flag of Greece. I already had a flag of Greece. I want to buy another one for a friend. And these two women went and helped me out and pulled out these flags, and they're all copies of the flag of Greece, and they were showing me these flags, and compared one of the flags with the flag with a flag of Greece that I had. And after that, one of the women said this: "Well, I can't help you if you don't tell me what you want." And why is that? I think I said this in a previous video. Well, here in the U.S., I was forced into not saying anything. I lived in a society where I don't have to say nothing, and people just do stuff for me. And telling them what I want is meaningless. I just sit there and don't say anything, and they just do stuff for me. I don't say a word. And stuff like that in a sane, civilized country is not normal. Yeah, where I live is technically normal, but it's not normal. It's kind of weird. And talking for yourself and telling people what you want is important. I mean, that's part of being an adult. And we're all human beings. I mean, we're not meant to be hermits and be isolated from one another. And we're not meant to be among one another and never speak to each other. I mean, we're human beings. I mean, we're meant to socialize with each other. I mean, we have a voice box. We have the ability to speak. And it's not healthy for someone who talks to you, you speak back to them, and they cut you dead in a sentence and won't let you finish. I mean, that's rude right there. And that happened to me. And that was the reason why I never speak to anybody. When someone speaks to me, I don't say anything because, well, I'm around people who won't let me say anything. And that's just wrong. And I remember my mother telling me this: "Oh, you went abroad, you went to those countries, and when you spoke to someone, they didn't say anything to you. Now you see how it feels when you don't say anything to us when we ask you something, when we ask you a question, when we speak to you, and you won't say anything." Which is just completely messed up and stupid. Like, it's like this, I'll just talk to people regardless if they don't let me say a word. Even though it's completely insane and uncivilized. Because it's like this, it's wrong to interrupt someone when they're talking. It's like this: when someone gets done talking, then you can talk. That's how it should be, but it's not like that here in the U.S. And I noticed this. I mean, I remember when I got into an argument with my dad over something. He said something to me that's not true, and I can't remember it. Then when I got up and tried to yell and try to speak and try to get my point across, he snaps his finger at me and points at me and say this: See there? You got a temper. You got a temper. You get mad. Well, it's because you're very toxic. You're a toxic person, and you won't let me speak. That's why I raise my voice for dominance to say what I have to say. And what I really don't understand is, okay, like, you got people who in America who won't admit that they make mistakes and they're not perfect, and they think that they're perfect and they can't do no wrong, and they're not perfect and they make mistakes, and they won't view this as, well, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. And my dad is one of these people. And I noticed when I went to this courthouse with him to sign papers to renew my U.S. passport. A woman at this help desk pulled out a form and said that I didn't sign anything on that form. And I told her this. Well, I just pointed at my dad and I said this to her. Well, I'm just going by what he's saying. I'm just following him. My father gets angry, turns to me and says this to me. Don't worry about it. Well, I'm not worrying about it. I'm just telling this woman the truth. I mean, when I get done saying something like that to someone, I'm just going to move on. That's it. So in his mind, he says that, well, if I speak up and tell the truth, then it's wrong. It's taboo. It's out of the box. It's wrong. And he uses a gaslighting technique by saying this to me. Oh, when you talk about something, you're worrying about it. No, I'm not worrying about it. I'm just telling the truth. How can I worry about something if I speak up and tell the truth about something? Be honest. It doesn't make any sense. If I worry about something, I'll just keep talking about it. And he says that, and he tells me that, oh, if you worrying about something, you have it on your mind. Well, yeah, but if I just talk about something and get done talking about it and just leave it alone and just move on and just go on to something else, well, I'm not worrying about anything. And he's just using that just to gaslight me, just to shame me, and just to shut me up and keep me mute and silent, which is just wrong. It's just so fundamentally messed up. And people like that, they just want dominance over someone. They want them to be quiet. They want them to shut up. They want them to be dumb and stupid and not say a word. And that's just wrong. And people who be dominant over people like that, they go abroad and they go to a souvenir shop and they don't say anything and they want something, and the shop owner at that souvenir shop will say this. Well, I can't help you if you don't tell me what you want. So, in conclusion, well, America is the problem. America is the problem of how you are. You're not the problem. It's people it's society, and people in society in America is the problem. They're the problem, not you. And you can solve your problem by changing your location and going abroad to another country. And you can live in that country and have a better social life, dating life. Your mental health will be cured. You'll become a normal person. You won't be a person full of anger and rage and resentment. You won't be doing crazy things. You won't have OCD or any of that stuff. You will be a sane, normal person. And you won't be judged. You won't be looked down upon. You'll just be viewed as just another person. That's all you would be in that country outside of the United States. I'm not the type of person. I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but I'm just trying to help people in this audio recording. Or if you're stuck in the U.S., you can't go abroad. There's the next best thing. I mean, you can get in your car and go on a road trip, and you can go to national parks or at a rest area that doesn't have bathrooms and just trash cans and picnic tables, and you can be one in nature. There's one good thing about the United States is its nature and scenery. A lot of trees, out in the forests, woods, a lot of trees, lakes, rivers, mountains. America has a lot of beautiful nature and scenery. You know, both Canada and the US have those things. You know, you can go to these places. You can recharge your batteries. You can be with one. You can feel good about yourself by by shedding all the toxicness from a toxic society here in the United States. You know, you get out of the cities and suburbs and just get away from toxic people, and you just go out in nature and just enjoy fresh air and trees and lakes and rivers and mountains. And that's good for your mental health, and that's good for you. You don't need to go see a bunch of mental health professions and a psychiatrist and pop pills from a psychiatrist to get better. Or these pills will help you because these pills will, quote unquote, help you cope with your problems. But those pills from a psychiatrist, basically, it's just a band-aid over a wound. I mean, seeing a psychiatrist and seeing a bunch of mental health professions is basically a band-aid slapped over a wound. All of that is just temporary fixes. It's not going to fix your problem. And staying in the United States isn't going to solve your problems. You know, someone says this, and I'll say it again, you know, doesn't matter how shitty life is, doesn't matter how bad things are, leaving America is not an option. And it is an option. So don't listen to someone who says something like that. Okay, that's all I gotta say in this audio recording. You know, it feels nice doing this audio recording in my car, with my car parked at a rest area near a major highway. You know, there's no one here but me. You know, it's very relaxing, even though it's cold outside. And I'm nice and warm in my car. And I'm very warm in this car, you know. So anyway, you don't have to put up with a loveless, lonely life here in the US. You can just go abroad and feel one with yourself. Okay, let me kill the video. Alright, I'm out. And, you know, thank you for watching, or thank you for, well, not watching, thank you for listening to this voice recording presentation. Alright, thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.